Wow, I'm off to work, and that's quite a dramatic skyline, isn't it? Well, there we go, folks. We're back home, and well, you can see there's a storm coming. A dark storm indeed. Anyway, means I better get into the shed. Yeah, the car's sold. We'll not go into that. Well, I might do on a live stream sometime. But let's go into the shed. Well, when I say this shed, it is actually a garage, a garage. It's about 28 foot long, 10 foot wide. But when I was a child, when I was growing up, well, there was only one person in the street actually had a car. No one had garages, unheard of, and everyone had a shed. So I've grown up saying that, you know, the place that you do your playing around in is a shed, you know. Tomatoes. So I mention that slightly, only because this morning, I was watching the Ultimate Recycling channel, where it's about 3 weeks old. 2 weeks old. This video, I missed it. It's actually, he did give me a shout out in it. Thank you very much, Chris. And he said, straight face here. This is a guy, and he works at the smallest workshop you've ever seen. The smallest shed. And then he said, well, it's not really small, it's just full of stuff, and he makes it small. So there you are, Chris. It's quite big. And if I remember, a long time ago when it was empty, quite big inside. But Chris has just done, I watched these videos in reverse order. So I watched the newest ones first, going back, and he's just done something called a decathon strip. Deca as in 10, where he takes 10 items and he strips them and see whether it's a cost-effective, cost ratio analysis. So that got me thinking, and I've just started to do something, and I thought, well, why not? I won't go as in depth as Chris did, where he took account of time. I'm just more interested in the weights, and this is where I'm going to contradict myself, because you might know I'm a guy who I take the ends off fuses. You know, if you're breaking a MOSFET, I even save the legs. Well, it's all there, every bit helps. In this instance, there's a sense of realism coming upon me, that my time is becoming a little bit more precious than scrapping time. I've other things I want to do, and if I'm spending an inordinate amount of time getting a tiny little bit of scrap out of something, which I enjoy doing, it's more of a hobby than it is doing it for money. The money's a byproduct. But in this instance, it's going to be priorities are changing. I'm getting older and getting less time in the future, and I don't want to leave my wife with all this, so I've got to clear it. That's end of story. It's got to go. Go on, let's get into the shed. So yes, the shed. The shed full of, rubbish. All right. Well, the Aldi basket, that was my very last tub of, I'm going to say smalls that I need to break down. The problem is, I didn't have enough room in there to tackle this lot, and I've had to spend a lot of effort in breaking everything, getting everything done in there to give me room to take stuff in here, put in there and get rid of, break down, get rid of. In between, I've been doing other things, you know, like making this little wood burner for someone's shed for when the weather gets a little bit colder. We'll make our way through. That worries me. That could be a tub of smalls. Another bottle for on the go. But let's get in here. Let's get in here where the action is. That tub contained these encoders. These are off the ends of a washing machine motor. Washing machine motors are not the new inverter type, but the older self-generating magnetic field motors. As in, they don't have magnets in. The magnetic field is generated by the electricity going through the coils. Basically, that means you get a washing machine motor, connect it, and there's no control to it. It basically just goes faster and faster and faster because the magnetic field gets more power as it's generated. You can look that up. So at the end, on the shaft, they have this encoder. Inside there is a copper coil. Yeah. Some was breaking up last night. I've probably done a third of what I have. I break these open to get the copper out. Why? Well, A, for the copper, but B, I brought it home, so I have to deal with it. I'm dealing with it is what I was doing yesterday. You can see in here, there's plenty I've done. And I'm going to talk about some of these. We'll keep that one out for a reason. Right. Let's put that to one side. Let's empty this, my very last tub of smalls to break up, and that means all my scrap is done. Apart from all that wire under there and a few other things behind there. But all my smalls are done. Right. Let's tedium. Right. I thought I took all these out actually. This is where I'm going to be contradictory in saying that I break everything up that comes my way. Well, if you watch Night Scrapper, don't forget to look at the night sky. He did one of these. I've done a few of them. Some break open quite easily. Others are an absolute pain. So much of a pain that I've separated them all out, thrown them in with me transformers, motors, rotors. Now I know these are very easy to strip, very easy, but at the end of the day I need to get a little bit of weight to take them in. So I'm not stripping these because I know they can be very difficult. I've started to strip these and I come across these, right, which are these small ones. And the purpose of this video, which has been partly spurred by Chris from The Ultimate Recycler, is cost analysis. Easy to break open, and I'll show you that shortly. And then you get this. Now that is still relatively easy to break open, as I'll show you. However, when you do break them open and you do pull your copper out, if I have a look in here, I'll find some that I did earlier. There's one. There's one. Right. Okay. As you can see, there's still copper attached to that. It's you can't get it off. It's glued in, and I've tried running a knife underneath and peeling it back, because I begrudge throwing that bit of copper away, and that is the sole reason for this video. Is it worth me breaking these small ones up just to get the bit of copper that's out of those, or is it better me just getting that and throwing them in the motors, rotors, transformers, of which I'd get £500 a metric ton, or 50 pence a kilogram. Well, I hope you can see very well there. Okay, tools. Well, of course, my hammer, my brick hammer. Where would I be without that? We're going to bring another hammer in. We're going to bring a small engineer's ball peen hammer, because I need that small ball end. We got snips, and we got some smaller snips, and then we have some pincers for pincing and prying apart. Finally, a pair of pliers, and I will use them just as I need them. Shove those up there, like my tools, just to my right hand side where I can reach them. I'll have my heavy block there. And that's that. Right, I did say I'll show you how easy it is to strip one of these. These are the small ones. I just grip it with a pair of pliers, and it's just bash, bash, and they fall off. That's because of the way it's smaller, and the way these prongs on the inside capture the plastic ring. More about that later. Snips. Snip the plastic, the connecting end off, and then it's either just twist and you can pull that out, and I get my pliers and I can pull that out. And that's what I've got out of that. If I was to break that open, which I will, you can see there's some stuck on the inside. That's stuck in with glue. Now I could throw all these little ones in a bowl of hot water, therefore loosening the glue and allowing me to probably get more of this fibrous copper off. That's all I can pull off. It's nothing. I am going to waste that, and that is the reason for this video, as I said. So that's how easy it is to break them open. Now, it's a different type. It's kind of this type. It's got a solid back. These, you can see through them. It's got a solid back. Experience tells me that although that thin end is easy to knock off, very easy to knock off, that one isn't. That one is kind of more, I don't know, holds the inner ring way more tighter. If I attempt to bash it in, it doesn't come off. But I did find If I turn it upside down and I hit the middle with a ball pen and dish it in the middle, it spreads it out. Like that. Could even use a big drift like what I made for doing the piggy's eye, or forcing it, probably even forcing it apart. That as now, as you can see, started to loosen it. Get all the grips. I can't. Sometimes that happens, it just breaks the end off. That makes that more difficult to hold. Because if I hold it on the inside now, I'm actually holding one of the metal pins in, making it more difficult to get out. Or I can go in between, get it? As you can see then, I'm holding the outside, making my life difficult. If I position it in the right place, I can hold it there. And you can get that off relatively easy. I put a snip in and have a choice then. I can either just bash it crack the casing. It's helping, I think, because it's cold. So that is a little brittle. As I said, there's a storm coming. A very dark storm coming indeed. And I think, as I commented to Chris at the Ultimate Recycling, he has a technique where he, on his chokes, he puts a screwdriver through and he unravels the copper. A bit like when I did that, all those tiny little spools the other day, and I was doing about 10 at once. I was just fortunate. But I tend to just bash things to bits and clean up afterwards. Right. There's only that 2 different types. Everything else is pretty much similar. Here's a larger version of the smaller one. I treat it the same thing. Bash, bash, bash. Comes off. Comes off. In the bin. Snip. Snip. Break open. Pull. If you twist that, you've got something to grip with. You get your pliers on it and you can just pull it out like that. Anything stubborn? Well, you know my saying, if in doubt, give it a clout. There we go. I ain't going to show you doing all them. What I am going to do is say, is it worth doing these? And this video is going to drag on, unfortunately. Okay, I was fortunate, there's still a few more left in there, that I've got enough of these small ones to 999 grams, 1 gram short of a kilogram. That will have to be close enough. So if I weigh that in, 1 kilogram, 2.2 pounds, 500 pounds a metric ton, 50 pence a kilogram. That tub will get me 50 pence at the scrapyard. How much copper would I get out of that? So at the risk of repeating myself, sorry folks, we have got 500 pounds a metric ton. It's 1,000 kilograms. Kilogram is 2.2 pound. or 50 pence per kilogram here in the United Kingdom, or 23 pence a pound. Converted to Canadian dollars is 37 cents a pound, 30 cents American dollars a pound, and 41 cents Australian dollars a pound, according to today's currency converter. Right, I'll strip them. Let us see how much copper we get out of them. Oh, did anybody glimpse that then? Yes, hot fruit cordial. I've come off the beer for a short while. Well, less of that said, the better. Okay, I mean, look at that. This dark storm is definitely on its way. Well, from that direction. And let's get at it. Where are we? Well, the cup of coffee says it's 10 past 3. The other clock says it's 10 past 3. And the Parisian clock says it's 10 past 3. We'll get straight at it. Ain't gonna film it. See you when it's all done. Well, just to confuse people, I've put the clock back a bit to 3 p.m. I can stick that in the corner, and then it's just saved me doing mental arithmetic, which I'm not very good at. And I'll start bashing these. Get the copper out, save the iron, weigh the copper. Slight change to the technique, just pull them off with a piece of plier. Right, there we go. So that took me 9 minutes, 10 minutes to get me plastics out. There are a couple of different makes in there, well, 3. I don't think it'll throw my calculations off that much. That's 531 grams, and all the tub weighs 15, so 515 grams, half a kilogram, 2.2 pounds of shred. I'll carry on now, which is taking the copper out of these. Right. Hey folks, there is nothing wrong with your eyes, and you don't need to adjust your TV set. I've just reset the clock back to 3 o'clock, so I don't have to do mental maths as I finish doing this. That's 5 minutes with which to cut all the noggins out of these. And there is actually 50 of them. I'm going to reset that clock and start breaking all these open to get that copper out. Way, that's the last of those done. And you can still even just get these little hairy furry bits and throw them in to that tub. Now the time is there in 20 minutes. So let's make a copper ball. Right, so I've got a copper ball which doesn't weigh very much at all. Where have I put the scales? Aye. 2 grams, 116 grams of copper, number 2. Right, let's go away and do some maths. Or math. There's no S on the end of math. So, it was 20 minutes, plus 5 minutes, plus 10 minutes. 35 minutes it took me to strip these. obviously in real time it's taken me a lot longer because I've been, you know, looking at videos, changing camera positions, doing other things. Right, this wounds me, you know, having to throw away that copper. Some split apart very easily and you just pull the copper out. Others had to have some really serious clouting to even let me get the copper out, and that was, to be quite honest, quite a few of those. Right, the thing is, this video is self-defeating because I've literally had to take out all of the small ones to prove it's not worth doing. So that's a bit, you know, I might find one or two left and say, not worth doing them, and throw them in with the motors, when I should have been doing some earlier and going, well, it's not worth doing those 50. I'll crack on with the math. Right, so I've set the clock back to actual time, which near enough 1 hour before since I started this video. As I said, there was little stops in between, changing camera positions, etc. Didn't even have time to drink me juice. Right, maths time. Nice pen. Does it right. So remember, you can lead a horse to water, but a pencil must always be lead. So there we go, folks. After 15-16 minutes of torturous math, currency converters. Right, so as promised, I've done the math. Okay, we know we weighed the motors in. I got 50 pence as is for 1 kilogram. And the other figures there. Right, I broke them all down. I've got shred, which is 500 grams, which is half a kilogram. It's £200 a tonne or 20 pence a kilogram. I've got half a kilogram, so therefore I've got 10 pence. Copper number 2 is over 10 times the price of motors. In fact, £5,800 a tonne, there or thereabouts. £5.80 a kilogram, or 0.058p, half a cent for you guys, a gram multiplied by that 160 grams gives me 67 pence, or in the USA 90 cents, Canadian, whatever that is, $1.14, Australian dollars $1.24, and there's me practicing how to do a dollar sign because that looks like a snake behind bars. I don't know. So I've got 67p and the 10p for the shred, gives me a total of 77 pence. So my total price is $1.04, $1.31, $1.43. And I got 50 pence. I've earned 77 for 35 minutes work. That's 27p more than that. It's hardly anything, 27p, but 27p is over 50% more than what I would have got. So there, folks, is the dilemma, the scrapper's dilemma. It's an every little else things. I broke up 50 of those, well, of the little ones. I'd have got 50p if I'd have thrown them in there. I've got a half again for breaking it up. Unfortunately, it's such small quantities, small weights, 30 pence is nothing. Right, so there's one of the small ones. There's one of the small ones. Not worth doing. I'd get 50% more if I broke it up. These are a different kettle of fish. I think, like in Chris's the Ultimate Recycler on his Decker strip where he did the chokes, Decker chokes video. The big ones were worth doing. The mediums may be worth doing, but the small ones wasn't. And I think that is going to be the case here. I've got some bigger ones. These literally just break open and you can pull all the copper out, as against this where there's a lot of wastage. So there we go. You know, multiply that by 2, right? So I worked an hour and I'll have made £1.50. Wow, you know, that slave labour. You know, micro scrapping, that is not where the money is. It might be if you're e-waste micro scrapping and doing the gold, but that's not my forte, and I'd have to speak to people like Scrapping Irish, Raphael Scrapper, but even e-waste Ben, although that's them, e-waste Mike, you know. But then again, that's volume. Now I'm going to do something now, which, if you don't notice or not, I never do. My arm's getting tired. Can you please hit that like button? You know, I'm not asking you to subscribe or hit the notifications. No, you're all grown up enough to know whether to do that if you want. But hitting the like button doesn't cost you anything. And I'm going to say it's not even for me. No, I mean, I'm doing quite well. You know, I'm just under 3 million views. No, it's not really even for me. I mean, I'm doing okay. I'm a little over 11,000 subscribers, 11,040. But I'm well aware that I'm part of a bigger scrapping community. So I've been going about 4 years. There's lots of people out there who haven't been on that long. And if you hit that like button, that tells the YouTube algorithm that you like scrapping videos, not necessarily that you like the Ian Matthews video, because it'll pick up on my tags and everything and what me about page is about, and it's a lot of scrapping. So the YouTube algorithm will show you, will recommend to you more scrapping channels, and hopefully it'll be scrapping channels that aren't, say, doing as well as myself, who are growing, you know, and because they're only tiny subscriber amounts, they're not getting recommended like they ought to do. And there are some great new scrapping channels out there, plenty of folk who've got just full of character, you know. So hit that like button, as I said. Not really for me, although it may help me. I don't think it does. I think the like button just says to the YouTube, hey, I like this type of video, you know. Consequently, the dislike button, which they've still there but they've done away with the count, didn't say to YouTube, hey, I dislike his video. It says, you don't like that type of content. So all you do if you hit the dislike button is just say to the YouTube algorithm, stop showing me that type of content, please. That's my theory about it. Prove me wrong. Right, I told you there was a storm coming, a really dark storm. Oh, about this, so, I hope you like the new lighting. So about this storm, this dark storm that's been threatening to come into the shed all day. Well, it's finally rolled in. There we go. Talisker dark storm. Coming at a very healthy 45.5%. Well, what did you expect? Beautiful, beautiful. Right, so there's for Cruiser Mac. You know, we've already opened it. Oh, music to the ears. So let's a tiny little bit of that and tell you a little bit about it. Reading off that, he says it's a deep and dark rich Talisker whiskey, matured in selected heavily charred casks to give it that extra spice and smoke. Well, I like my smoky, peaty whiskies, and Talisker's my favourite. That along with Ardbeg. I'll smell it first. I'm cheating, I've already had one, haven't I? Obviously. But oh yeah, you know, I should warm it up a bit. I've done this last night, you know. But it's beautiful and smoky and peaty. Oh, lovely and smooth. And that 45% gives it that little bit of a kick. Certainly warms you up going all the way down. Right. That's Ian in his shed. I know it's been a long video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Go over, have a look at the Ultimate Recycler's channel. He does a bit of all sorts. Does some scrapping, and he has a second-hand shop. And he goes out and he shows you how he buys and sorts stuff out. Quite interesting channel. I'm going to leave you with an outtake. So Ian in his shed, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm going to be stuck, aren't I? Because that is my very last bit of me smalls, me micro scrap. I'm pretty sure though I can find more in here. I'll see you soon, you lot, and take care. Good night. Okay, let's get down to the math. We've got the currency converter up. Okay, P, that gives us loads of bollocks because 500 grams is half a kilogram, £200 a tonne, that's 20 pence a kilogram, that's 10p, not 20p, which means all my other calculations are out. Damn, I found a clean piece of paper.